The M4 Sherman was a fast and reliable medium tank that served in massive numbers for the Allies during World War II. Although its drawbacks often outweighed its virtues on the battlefield, no other tank of its era could match the exceptional balance and versatility of the legendary Sherman. Tom Chikansky is the Director of Exhibits and Collections at the National World War II Museum in New Orleans.
The Sherman was one of the most balanced tanks of World War II. Although lacking in critical areas, it was fast, dependable, and above all, easy to manufacture.
Designed for mass production and rapid delivery to the front, the ubiquitous Sherman served in every theater of operation in World War II as the Allies' principal medium tank.
One of the major advantages of a medium tank is mobility. The Sherman had a top speed of about 26 miles an hour. This meant you could get a whole company of tanks or even a whole tank division anywhere you needed to go in a hurry.
Despite its advantage of speed and mobility, the Sherman's off-road performance posed a major challenge for its crews.
One of the fixes they came up with was the E9 model of Shermans. This particular tank was equipped with spacers. Normally this side of the track would be located about here, and this edge would be at the edge of the tank. Longer track connectors could be fitted out and thus provide a wider track, having additional space here and likewise out here.
Other modifications added much-needed protection for the Sherman's vulnerable crew.
The Sherman was very under-armored. The Germans had a wide variety of anti-tank weapons that would punch through any piece of the Sherman's armor. Even their Panzerfaust, an individual anti-tank weapon, would punch through the frontal armor of the Sherman.
Even more dangerous was the infamous 88, a high-velocity anti-aircraft gun improvised by the Germans into the most feared anti-tank weapon of World War II. To help safeguard the crewmen, measures were taken to protect critical areas of the Sherman's hull.
You can see here in front of the gunner, a large thickness of applique armor was applied. This armor was put on to the cast turret and then welded on and built up and welded on and built up to provide additional thickness at this critical point. There's another piece of applique armor mounted in front of the driver and the assistant driver. And as you can see here, crews would often place sandbags to provide additional coverage.
Despite these efforts, the Sherman's armor was still no match for the dreaded 88s. Nor could it stand up to the Germans' deadly Panther and Tiger tanks, which took a heavy toll on the Sherman crews across Europe.
The Sherman had an additional disadvantage in that the ammunition was stowed all over the place. This meant wherever the Sherman was hit, it was likely to catch fire. In an effort to improve the survival characteristics of this tank, applique armor was added over the magazines. Behind this plate, main gun rounds were stored, and so it was important to try and keep this area from being penetrated.
The Sherman was armed with a full traverse 75mm main gun, supported by 3 powerful Browning automatic machine guns.
The Sherman tank is equipped with 2 .30 caliber machine guns. This is the 1919 Browning. One of them is mounted alongside the main gun. That's called a coax mount, and it's fired by the gunner. Wherever the main gun's pointed, that's where that .30 caliber is. The second .30 caliber machine gun is located in the bow of the tank. The 50 caliber machine gun is installed on the turret, and its main purpose is to provide anti-aircraft support.
The Sherman's 75mm main gun provided the firepower for its main objective, but like its armor, it too often fell short in combat.
What this gun does, mostly, is bounce off of German armor. The only way this gun was going to take out German armor was through a side shot or a rear shot.
Engaging the Germans' Tiger and Panther tanks required exceptional teamwork, with each member of the Sherman's crew working together to provide the gunner with critical targeting opportunities.
The driver was located forward and below the level of the turret. He was attempting to keep as much of the vehicle concealed as possible and provide a stable and smooth ride so that the gunner would not be thrown off target. This is the gunner's position. He could traverse the turret. He also elevated and depressed the main gun. He was provided with 2 sights, a periscope fixed to the main gun. He also has a 4-power telescope located here, which provides a better sight and more accurate shot. The loader would handle 75mm shells like this, which he would load into the main gun. He also would refill the .30 caliber machine gun located here that was also fired by the gunner.
Although tasked primarily for tank-to-tank combat in Europe, Sherman crews in the Pacific fought a much different war against a very different enemy.
The major difference between Europe and the Pacific was that the Japanese lacked any heavy tank. So in the Pacific, the Sherman was often used as infantry support. Typically, 3 tanks would move out together. When the Japanese would swarm up onto the lead tank with mines and hand grenades, the tanks in the rear would open up with their machine guns and shoot the infantry off of it. In Europe, the Sherman's job was to engage enemy tanks. Although we would usually lose several tanks for every German tank we knocked out, we could build twice as many as we lost. More than 50,000 Shermans were produced during the war, and we were able to supply them to our allies on every front. So in the end, it was the combination of speed, reliability, and mass production that made the Sherman one of the iconic tanks of World War II.
Hello and welcome. Here we have the 21st Century Toys World War II Sherman M4 medium tank. This is date stamped on its hull as being produced in the year 2000. This one is the rare first issue, two-tone tan and olive drab camo version, used in the seafront of the Pacific War against the Japanese in 1943. This one comes with the figure, so let's have a look at this American World War II soldier. Here we can see in true 21st century fashion, the man has a nice helmet. And good features. He even has a silver zipper, which is nice. Your pockets on like a tan coloured bomber jacket. He has his insignia on his arms, and then also one on this arm with a further insignia of which division he's from. He says like brown khaki pants with nice boots. Articulation, his head can rotate 360 like so. His arms can rotate full 360. The other arm could do the same. He has the nice 90-degree split elbow, which needs to be twisted like so, and the hands can be rotated like so. This happens on the other side as well. And the hands can be rotated like so. He has waist articulation, which is full 360, I believe. He can bend his thighs to a 90-degree angle, likewise with the other side, like so it can be seated. This one's knees are very stiff because they've never been used before, and this is how I received it, so it would naturally I believe spin for 90 degrees, but this one's very stiff, so I don't really want to break it. Also the boots do turn like so, and likewise with the other side. Very stiff, but you can kind of get the idea that it does, or would, bend. Boots also move as well. Let's just put his arms back. He's got nice cuffs as well. You can see the detail there. Elasticated cuffs here. Nice detailing on the back of his helmet, hat, cap. I don't know if they actually wore helmets back then. It could be like a leather one maybe. Looks like there are peg holes there, presumably for his handgun. Maybe a few other bits. And it looks like maybe a pouch would have went here, but none of these were included. Presumably because if he did, he wouldn't be able to sit into the Sherman. So if we put him aside now, and let's have a look at the Sherman itself. As you can see here, this was apparently additional welded steel, which made it difficult for other projectiles hitting it and piercing it. So this was like added armour that they added after the production of the Sherman to protect the loader and also the driver. On the front we have spare items. You've got the spare, I don't think you call them wheels, but obviously the kind of wheels for the tank. You've got spare tracks, a large one and a smaller one here. Another spare, I think they're called sprockets maybe. Looks what could be an oil can, another jerry can, and also got the lights which look nice. They've been painted silver like so. You've got some hooks here, presume that's some sort of guard to prevent the light from getting damaged. It's likewise with this one. Here you have a 30 cal machine gun which can be turned to the left like so, can be turned to the right like so. Very limited, I mean there's not much movement there to be honest. And up above we have apparently here, this hole here, this hole just here would have been another 30 cal here, but for some reason none of these models have it. And this one is the 75mm gun, the main gun, and then above here we have the 50 cal machine gun, which can be elevated, rotated full 360, and also be put in the down position. It comes with the cartridge with, you can see some shells there. Let's have a close look at that. So here you can see the shell, the small 50 cal shells here, and the actual cartridge. This machine gun actually sits here, this little stand, which is quite nice. Up above here we have the aerial mast here. Opening features now. We have the the gunner operative here, and this one opens and closes nicely. And then you've got the driver's hatch here, which also opens and closes. The main gun rotates full 360, like so. Elevates that much and descends that much, which is not too bad. I believe this is extra plating as well that was added to protect the top gunner, and also these bits that found on the front of the tank were actually used to bolster the armour. The top hatch also opens, so let's have a look at that. Just move the gun out of the way. So if we see now, we can see that the hatch actually opens here, like so, and so there's a top one. Like here. You can see inside, oh, there you go, there's a bit of a seat there where you could sit the figure there, and the legs would be at the bottom there. Further opening features are, I believe it's the where the gunner for the main gun would actually sorry, where he would eject the spent shells. Yep, that's it. So he would expel the used shells from this hatch here. Also, it looks like if someone was a keen customizer, they could actually use this bit and make this into a opening hatch, because it actually does open, but because of the pin or peg on the other side, it doesn't open properly. But this actually can be removed, like so. So this can actually move up like that. But because there's these two pegs here which fit into there, it's a bit difficult. So if you was to shave those off, maybe cut that out, and then you just pop this back in. Sorry, one sec. It's not really meant to be open, but just gives you a good idea. So here we have that. That could act as another hatch, which is quite cool. Also, there's a lot of other features on here where you can actually remove some of the stowage. I mean, this one actually just pulls out like so. So there's I believe the sprocket. You have a further one over this side which can be removed. The tracks can be removed as well. They're made of a nice rubber, so that can be removed. The jerry can also be removed. Likewise with this smaller track, this one can be removed as well. These are actually rubber, so they're a bit stiff, like so. Let's just move that back a bit so you can actually see. Then you've got that jerry can there. And then you've got further jerry can here. And then you've got this, like, it's an oil drum, maybe, or grease drum, could be a grease drum maybe, which is quite nice. Actually got like the cap, so it's a grease drum there. You've got, I believe all of this might be able to be taken off. The crates at the back can be removed, like so. Likewise with this crate as well, can be removed. Further, possibly grease can be removed. Even the helmet, there's a helmet here, this can be removed. So you've got a nice little helmet there. I won't be surprised if these also come off, which they most probably do, but yep. These are all just placed in there, so thankfully they're not glued in. Yep, so these come off as well, which is nice. And these just peg back in, like so. It also has a lot of different tools. If we look here, we can see which could be a pry bar here. This I believe is the handle for the pickaxe head. You've got your spade, you've got your axe, which is in the sheath there, it's hidden. I believe these ports might be exhaust ports, because you've got two either side. You've got one here and the one over here. You've got your shackles here and one on the other side, and then on the rear you've got the US Marine Corps and the number for their division. On the rear have, which could be a tow hook maybe. The rear hatch doesn't open, but at least it's detailed in there instead of being just plain plastic. You've also got, looks like some hex tool here, some sort of crank, metal mallet, and I think that's it, apart from all the, I mean the lights are painted, so that's quite good. You've got the further light there. All of these are done like in a weathered sand colour. I believe all these can be removed. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, obviously the tracks are made of rubber. The tracks are made of rubber, and they just sit in there like so. There's no suspension, but it does roll quite nicely. which is good. Yeah, so I mean, this is a really nice one, and quite easy just to peg these things back in. So the helmet went here, like so. You had the drum, which went here, and the crates, which just peg into here, like so, and a further crate here, like that. And then now to put the additional accessories on the front. So the tracks went into here, the big track. This actually gets pegged into this hole here. These two holes for these two pegs. Like so, and then this one just slides into there. Like so. That's that track. Then you've got the further smaller track, which has only got with the one peg, and that I believe went in this way, like so. Then you had the jerry can, which gets pegged into here. You had the oil or grease can with its peg, which pegs just below the 30mm, sorry, the 30 caliber machine gun, like so. The other jerry can pegs into the hole here, like so. And then you had these two wheels or sprockets, which just clip into here. Like so. And the last one goes into here. Like so. Yep, so that's nice. Also got nice little bolts detailing here and on this side as well. These are nicely detailed as well. These driving sprockets. It's got nice bolts. And there's even detailing at the back here. You can see there's like bolts and a plate, raised plate. Looks like there's kind of like maybe a suspension here, or is that just a guide as it goes up? Maybe, yeah, it's supposed to be a guide, so it keeps the tracks running true. It's also got these things here which I'm not too sure what they are. You've got two of them there, and it looks like further two there. Looks like it's got the hooks for maybe chaining something there. The tracks are nicely detailed. There was also, what was the rivet? There was rivets on the actual turret itself. No, looks like actual screws. Just look here, looks like it's, these are like screws along here, screws there, there and there and there, and on the bottom of the turret as well, which is nice detailing. The barrel, the main gun, does look a bit small to me, but I don't know if that can be enlarged maybe with a drill or something. But on the whole, it's a really nice Sherman tank. It's quite unusual because usually they were made in the olive drab colour, but this obviously has got this sort of fine spray of tan on it, and it even extends down to the tracks and sprockets maybe. But yeah, it's a nice one. With quite a few opening features. So opening features, you have the two front hatches there and there. So you've got two front hatches, two doors for the top hatch, don't know if you can call that four maybe, and the hatch for the expelled shells. So that's, well, let's call it four because this has actually got two doors but for one kind of hatch, I guess. Oh, 4 or 5 hatches depending on how you look at it. But yeah, very nice one. Definitely worth picking up if you find it. And if not, definitely pick up the olive drab one. Much better than this one's, much better than the Bravo Team Elite one, because these two hatches do not open, and I think there's only the one hatch that opens on it. So yeah, this one's a far more better detailed version. Yeah, so hope you like the review. Just to put the figure by his vehicle. So this was the review of the Sherman M4 tank. Okay then, well, thank you very much.